Tyler, imagine if you were a father in Maryland. You came to this country legally, you requested asylum, you were granted asylum, you've been here for 5 years, you married an American girl, you had children in America, and then one day ICE comes, picks you out of the crowd, throws you into a prison, and then a few weeks later, you find yourselves in one of the most dangerous prisons in South America, in El Salvador, locked away with hundreds, if not thousands, of violent gang members, all because of an administrative error. I can't imagine what this poor man and his poor family are going through right now. I mean, this is a guy who has lived in the U.S. for, I believe, about 5 years with no criminal record in the United States, no criminal record in El Salvador. I can't fathom what somebody like that is going through at a time like this. I mean, it's just, this is not something that happens in America, Tyler. At least not the America that I believe in and I hope for and I value and I think has been a beacon to the world. It's like I love the example that Reagan put of America as the city, the shining city on a hill, being a beacon of freedom for the rest of the world. And it's just like Trump is just dousing that fire and that flame for freedom out in front of our very eyes. And I don't know. It's so frustrating. It's so disheartening. I think it's maybe the patriot in me, the one that really, true patriotism isn't loving your government. It's loving your nation, loving what it stands for, loving the people in it. And boy, it rips my heart out when a story like this happens.
It's horrifying, and I am a father, as you are. It's not hard to imagine what families go through. It's not hard to imagine what you would be going through if you're in that situation. And if it sounds far-fetched, well, okay, here's two white guys, here's two people who are born U.S. citizens talking about this, saying, oh gosh, we can imagine it. But no, without due process, this administrative error is not an administrative error. There is no process during which an error could have taken place. The process is whatever the nearest ICE agent says you are, that's what you are. Whoever they say you are, that's who you are. And whatever they want to do to you, this administration says you deserve it. We can't live in a country under those standards. You can't accept that. No American can accept that. No non-American can accept that. Nobody who might find themselves reached out and touched by the police arm of this administration can afford to tolerate that, John.
No, not at all. And the Trump administration is now saying that they have no authority to bring him back. They have no recourse to bring him back. So you're telling me that if it was an American citizen who accidentally got deported to an El Salvadorian labor prison, you're telling me that there would be nothing we could do about that? Bullshit. I'm sorry. Like economic sanctions or like we are funding this, right? The American government is funding these people being in this prison. Pull that funding until he comes back. You're telling me that there are no I get it. Okay, there's maybe no legal technical paperwork you can fill out to get him back. There is absolutely political pressure that can be put on El Salvador to get him and frankly many of the others who were wrongly sent there back. Like you can't. I'm sorry, but you're telling me that if it was an American citizen, nope. We just throw up our hands. We're done for it. Sorry, too bad. An American citizen is now in El Salvador for the foreseeable future. No, we can't accept that, and we can't accept it for a legal immigrant either. Or frankly, for even an illegal immigrant. No one, no matter, it doesn't matter what your legal status in this country is. If you have not been convicted of a crime, there is no circumstances to which you should be sent to any prison, much less in the United States, much less one in El Salvador, and where many of these people have never even been to in their entire lives. I understand wanting to deport gang members. In fact, I fully agree that there are many people who are violent, dangerous people who should go through a deportation process, particularly a due process, where we make sure that that's who we are actually deporting. And I understand that, the country they may end up may put them on trial and may find them guilty of some crimes there. And in that case, okay, that country's, is responsible for that due process. But this is without any due process. They're being deported out of the United States and just walked from the plane into the prison itself directly. There's no stops. There's no trial. There's no hearing. There is nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. I find it just shocking to me that anyone at this point can defend what's going on. And listen, to his credit, Joe Rogan has the other day just started calling out Donald Trump for him deporting. It was not about this story about the Maryland father, but actually the one about the gay barber who you and I talked about last week. Rogan was talking about how horrific it is that somebody like this, an innocent person, could be sent to a violent prison labor camp. Like so we're starting to see cracks. We're starting to see cracks among Trump supporters, and Joe Rogan is certainly among them. But we're starting to see that crack. They're starting to question things, and that gives me some hope that the MAGA movement is not fully on board with throwing away everyone's rights just because government doesn't approve of someone. Though then we have on the flip side, we of course have the Trump administration deporting people based on, or trying to deport people. I don't think they've been successful yet, deporting legal immigrants, student visa holders based on their speech. So I hope we start seeing something wake up. I mean, think about it like this. If you're MAGA watching this, listen, what if a liberal gets in president, or I should say a leftist gets in president, because a true liberal would never do this. A leftist becomes president and decides Jordan Peterson, he doesn't like what Jordan Peterson is saying, so therefore he's going to have Jordan Peterson deported to a prison in the middle of nowhere for who knows how long. Always think about what your enemies can do with the precedents and the laws that you're setting, because they will use it against you. And that's why our system is set up with so many checks and balances, is to prevent government from swinging back from one tyranny to another tyranny. It's supposed to swing between those two and keep from hitting either side. But right now, it seems like the Trump administration is going full bore into just a horrific place in American history that we frankly, I can't think of. I cannot think of a more. I mean, there were many abuses, obviously, of due process during the war on terror. I think that's a good example of this. But we have never seen an assault within our country, if that makes sense, within people who have lived here, particularly legal immigrants who are here. I cannot think of another situation quite like this, except for perhaps during World War II with the Japanese internment. That would be the first thing I can really think of. Obviously, Jim Crow laws would also be another one. But man, I think we are headed for a dark chapter in American history, and I hope we can find our way out of it either through our court system or public pressure. But frankly, that's something that we better start sorting out how we take our country back pretty quick.
John, let me close out with two quick thoughts. One, there are 70 million Trump voters out there. There are not 70 million sadists in this country. There are not 70 million people who are inhuman in this country. There are not 70 million people who are depraved to the point of deriving pleasure from the suffering that is being inflicted on people. You're absolutely right. The problem is not with somebody who might have cast a bad vote in this last election, or might have cast an uninformed vote, or might have cast a vote not knowing or understanding what was about to happen. It's never too late for those folks to stand up. I don't want anybody to feel like they're forced to defend what's going on, because what's going on right now is indefensible, and you are not pot committed to that. The second thing is that what we all can do, regardless of how we voted or what we supported or what our journeys have been, what we all can do is stay resilient, stay clear-eyed, continue to watch these things, continue to seek out legitimate and real information, and refuse to fall in to the narratives that the administration is trying to do to whitewash and sort of cleanse these horrible activities, right? You said earlier, John, I'm going to call you out. You said earlier, accidentally deported. This guy, none of these people in El Salvador were accidentally deported. Nobody slipped on a freaking banana peel, shackled somebody, and put them on a plane to El Salvador. These people were purposefully deported. They're legal residents. They were denied due process. They were intentionally put on a plane. They were intentionally denied a hearing. They were intentionally sent to a gulag in El Salvador, where they are now beyond the reach, the administration claims, beyond the reach of the American justice system. regardless of who they were when that process started. Nothing about that is accidental. Nothing about that is something that there haven't been alarm bells being rung ferociously by us and by others all throughout this process. This is exactly where it was always going to lead. This is where we now are. We have to keep our eyes open to it. We have to continue to say it's unacceptable. And we have to continue to welcome people who are waking up to the fact of how unacceptable it is.